You need to watch this if you've ever wondered what makes marriage truly holy. For centuries people have asked, what is it that sets marriage apart from any other relationship? Is it just a social contract, a legal arrangement, or is there something deeper, something sacred, at its very core? Today we're going to journey back in time and discover how the earliest Christians, those who lived closest to the time of Christ, understood marriage, and why their insights still matter for us today. I don't think people realize just how profound the early church's view was. Their understanding of marriage wasn't just about rules or customs, it was about a vision that saw marriage as a living icon of God's love, a mystery that reveals something about the very heart of the Christian faith. The early church fathers, those wise teachers and spiritual guides, saw marriage as a path to holiness, a way to encounter God in the everyday joys and struggles of life. Let's unlock their ancient wisdom together. Imagine sitting in a candlelit church, surrounded by the echoes of ancient prayers, as we open the pages of history and listen to voices that have shaped Christian thought for nearly 2,000 years. What did they see in marriage that we might be missing today? From the very first pages of Scripture, marriage is more than an agreement, it's a divine calling. The story of Adam and Eve isn't just about the first man and woman, it's about the very foundation of human life. In Genesis we see that God himself is the author of marriage, creating man and woman to be companions, partners, and co-creators of life. This isn't just a nice story, it's a blueprint for what it means to be human. Genesis tells us, "A man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh." This one flesh union is more than physical, it's spiritual, emotional, and deeply personal. The early church fathers saw in these words a profound mystery, that in marriage two people are called to become united in every way, reflecting the unity and love that exists within God himself. Jesus himself echoes this, saying, "What God has joined together, let no one separate." For Jesus, marriage is not just a human arrangement, it's something God does. It's a work of grace, a joining together that is meant to last, to endure, and to reveal God's faithfulness to the world. The early Christians took these words seriously, seeing marriage as a sacred trust, a covenant that mirrors God's unbreakable promise to his people. For St. Paul, marriage goes even deeper. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. This is a radical call. Paul isn't just talking about affection or partnership, he's talking about self-giving love, the kind of love that sacrifices, that forgives, that endures through every trial. In Paul's vision, marriage becomes a living parable of Christ's love for the church, a love that is total, faithful, and life-giving. The early church fathers took these teachings to heart. They saw marriage as a vocation, a calling from God that shapes not only the couple, but the entire Christian community. They wrote sermons, letters, and treatises exploring the meaning of marriage, offering guidance and encouragement to couples seeking to live out this sacred bond. But how did the early church fathers understand all this? What did they teach about the purpose and meaning of marriage, and how can their wisdom help us today? For St. Augustine, marriage was threefold: faithfulness, openness to life, and the sacrament itself. Augustine saw marriage as a school of love, where spouses learn to be faithful not only to each other but to God. He taught that marriage is a place where new life is welcomed, where children are seen as a blessing and a gift. But above all, Augustine saw marriage as a sacrament, a holy sign that points beyond itself to God's love. The sacrament of marriage for Augustine was not just a ritual or a ceremony, it was a living reality, a channel of God's grace that transforms ordinary love into something extraordinary. Through the ups and downs, the joys and sorrows, the daily acts of kindness and forgiveness, marriage becomes a way to encounter God's presence in the most intimate parts of life. Tertullian saw marriage as a partnership of souls, not just bodies, united in hope, in purpose, in faith. He wrote about the beauty of a husband and wife praying together, supporting each other, and growing in holiness side by side. For Tertullian, marriage was a journey, a pilgrimage toward God, where each spouse helps the other become the person they are meant to be. And St. John Chrysostom called marriage a mystery, a living symbol of Christ's presence among us. He spoke of the crown of marriage, the idea that God himself blesses and sanctifies the union of husband and wife. Chrysostom encouraged couples to see their marriage as a place where Christ is always present, guiding, healing, and strengthening their love. These early teachers didn't shy away from the challenges of marriage. They knew that real love requires sacrifice, patience, and forgiveness. They wrote honestly about the struggles couples face, but they also offered hope, reminding us that God's grace is always at work, even in our weakness. For them, marriage was a path to sainthood, a way to grow in virtue and holiness together. So why does this matter today? In a world where marriage is often misunderstood, reduced to a contract or a fleeting feeling, the wisdom of the early church fathers offers a different vision. They remind us that marriage is not just about personal happiness or fulfillment, it's about becoming a sign of God's love in the world. Because the early Christians didn't see marriage as just a human arrangement. They saw it as a calling, a vocation, a way to participate in God's own life. Marriage was meant to be a witness, a testimony to the world that love is real, that faithfulness is possible, and that God is present in the ordinary moments of life. They saw it as a sacrament, a visible sign of invisible grace. In every act of love, every word of forgiveness, every moment of self-giving, the grace of God is at work, transforming human love into something divine. The early church fathers believed that marriage, lived faithfully, could change not only the couple, but the entire community. In a world where marriage can feel fragile or misunderstood, their voices remind us, this bond is holy, this love is sacred. It's not always easy, but it is always worth it. The early Christians believed that every marriage, no matter how humble, has the potential to reveal God's love to the world. The community too plays a role. In the early church, marriage was celebrated not in private but in the midst of the Christian assembly. The whole community prayed for the couple, supported them, and reminded them that they were not alone. Marriage was seen as a gift to the church, a source of strength and renewal for everyone. Whether you're married, single, or still discerning, remember, in the wisdom of the early church, marriage is not just about two people. It's about a journey toward God, a path of love that leads us deeper into the mystery of faith. The early church fathers invite us to see marriage with new eyes, to recognize its beauty, its challenges, and its incredible potential for holiness. It's about God's love made visible, right here, right now. Every marriage, every act of love is a chance to make God's presence known in the world. The early Christians believed that when we love faithfully, we become living icons of Christ, shining His light in our families, our communities, and beyond. That's ancient wisdom we can all hold on to. In a time when so much seems uncertain, the early church fathers remind us that love endures, that faithfulness matters, and that God is always with us, blessing, guiding, and sustaining every sacred bond. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights on faith and history.